versus Manchester City, the Saturday 12:30 game live on BT Sport. I'll take a look at the betting as we currently have it on Matchbook.com. Manchester United 4.5 here to be Man City, who are a 1.88 shot, and the draw is available at 4.0. Both teams to score yes is 1.73. That's favoured in that market. And no is the underdog there, currently available at 2.32. The Asian handicap line sees Manchester United get a half a goal start at 2.12, and the total is 2 3/4. So we'll go to you this one for Miguel and set up this game. I guess Manchester City have had a small bit of a wobble there midweek last night. Definitely unexpected. The team was a bit weird that Kyle Walker playing as centre-back. A lot of lads got taken off at half-time. As Pep Guardiola performances go, that's probably up there with the worst of them since he's been in charge. You go on, Miguel. Yeah, carry on.
Sorry. Yeah, especially as he was evidently trying something, and it comes in the context of Guardiola talking up how he's going to maybe do something different for the Manchester derby. Because I think from everything you hear, Guardiola's been very impressed with what Ten Hag has done at Manchester United. He expects a very different game to October when City just destroyed them, and it was pretty clear that this wasn't a United team fully integrated into Ten Hag's idea. That's not the case now. But that result was all the more surprising because, to be honest, I actually thought, I mentioned that first game back, Chelsea-Man City. I thought that was one of the most significant results of the season for me, or I thought it would be, because of the manner that City did it, where suddenly it's a pressure game given Arsenal's advantage. There's the chance to cut it. It's a difficult game given it's at Stamford Bridge, and then City find a way, and they find a way in the manner that Guardiola was able to bring 160 million worth of talent off the bench in Mahrez and Grealish. They combined for the winner, and we were in the press room afterwards, and the Chelsea press room was right beside the away dressing room, so you can often hear when it's a particularly raucous response what happens next door. In this case, the players were banging the walls. You could hear them all singing Johnny Stones, and I had the feeling of one of those games. It all just fed into one of those results that you could potentially see kicking off one of those runs. Now, in the last two seasons, basically the way City have won the league has a run that started pretty much around now. Not in terms of time, in terms of mid-January, but instead around the kind of game 17 mark, where it's around this part where they've suddenly gone to a different level, got on a winning run, and that's pretty much settled the title. Even last season, although Liverpool pushed them close, it was City's run that gave them that advantage. But I suppose the nature of the League Cup defeat suddenly puts maybe a little bit of doubt on that, with that compounded by the potential effect in the World Cup, given that City players played so much more than anyone else in the Premier League. So that's where the doubt is, and it's where it creates just a little bit of uncertainty maybe going into this game, certainly much more than October. United look very good, and I do find it's very difficult to call, by the fact I think it'll be open, there'll be goals, so I've gone for both teams to score.
Yeah, both teams to score is currently available at 1.72. And Mark, you're under similar lines there. I guess the stats sort of back up that it's going to be an entertaining game.
Yeah, I think so. Man United, I think, have slipped under the radar a little bit, really. Go back to August and they got thrashed by Brentford 4-0 on that blistering hot day in London. They were in crisis. But actually, since and including their win against Liverpool on the 22nd of August, no team in the Premier League has won more points than Manchester United, which is 35. They've won 11 of those 15 games. They've got the third best defence in that sample as well. They've conceded just 5 goals in the last 9 Premier League matches. 3 of them came in one game away at Aston Villa, which coincidentally was Cristiano Ronaldo's last appearance for United. So defensively, things are going very well. I've had a few concerns about their attacking side of the game, their chance creation and their XG numbers. But things are improving steadily. And when you've got Marcus Rashford in the form he's been in, both pre, during and post World Cup, there's a lot to be positive about from a United perspective, and particularly at Old Trafford too, where they've been very, very good, almost flawless really since the opening day defeat to Brighton. You could claim that the fixture list has been quite soft in recent weeks, but I think they've passed every test that they've been asked, most of them at least. And obviously they're in a completely different place to where they were when they lost 6-3 to City last time around. And I just have a few inklings about City at the minute, concerns, I guess. Pep did a Pep thing in that match Miguel was talking about at Stamford Bridge, rectified things at half-time and got the win. But, I kind of discount the FA Cup match because Chelsea's team was so poor that day. And the Saints match was quite concerning. He did make changes again, and it wasn't a full-strength City team until he brought the artillery off the bench in the second half. But if you look at their Premier League performances over the last, a couple of months, they've not been the sort of fluent, all-conquering team we saw in August, September, and even October. Straight back after the World Cup, were really made to work hard away at Leeds. Were well beaten by Brentford before the World Cup. They've actually failed to beat Everton at home recently. Fulham put in a really good show at the Etihad as well. Brighton as well. Struggled past Leicester with a De Bruyne free kick, making the difference. Lost to Liverpool. So it's been a while, I think, since we've seen the best of City in the Premier League. And I would not be keen on backing them at odds on quotes, 1.88 here. I can understand why the price is where it's at, but I'm quite happy to sort of leave that alone. Instead, I think both teams to score at 173, like Miguel says, is the way I would play this anyway. I think United at home will see this as an opportunity. They'll want to make a statement at Old Trafford. They believe that they're good enough now to make that next step. And I think Man City have shown, not just defensively, but all-roundery, that they possibly are a bit vulnerable right now. So there's that. And also, you just never do want to sort of oppose Man City getting on the score sheet. They failed to score just twice away from home in the Premier League since the opening day of last season, which is some record, really. So I would expect them to score, but I think United can absolutely get something from this match and get on the score sheet too. So I thought both teams to score was the way to play, and don't really have to care who wins, draws, or loses this match.
Yeah, look, Adrian, Mark's put a lot of the points there in terms of his concerns for Manchester City, but focus a little bit on Manchester United and Erik ten Hag. Even the similarities a small bit with Mikel Arteta, and we've seen how well he's done that this season, that he's really putting a stamp on his authority on the club. And look, the Ronaldo thing is aged like a fine wine. He's really, everything he's done so far, the club has been spot on.
Yeah, he's driven up standards. That's what he's done, isn't it? He's made some tough decisions like Mikel Arteta had to, and those have paid off. And the competition for places is strong now. I think everybody's on that sort of level playing field. And yeah, I've been really, really impressed with them. Rashford is probably the most informed player in the country at the moment. So he's somebody that Manchester City might really need to tame. And they've had issues at right back, haven't they? Who's going to play there? Kyle Walker's very much in and out of the team at the moment. Young Rico Lewis has had the nod the last sort of 2.5 games. He came on at half-time against Chelsea. When City weren't very good, by the way, in that first half. I thought they were quite poor. Managed to salvage something, obviously, after the break. But yeah, no, Manchester United, I think, will target, try and get the ball to Rashford as often as they can. I think the shape of the team's been good. Casemiro's obviously got a lot of credit for that. But, clean sheets racking up at Old Trafford. I think I'm right in saying that the last time they conceded a Premier League goal at Old Trafford was against Arsenal at the start of September. Bukayo Saka. I mean, that's a long time ago. So even if City do score, and obviously you can see them getting one here, maybe, but maybe thoughts of them getting 2 or 3 or 4 are way off the mark, given how secure United have been. So yeah, I can see where the boys are coming from. I actually think it might be a lower scoring game than the guys think. For me, the best value is in Manchester United on the handicap. Manchester United plus half a goal at the right side of evens, 2.12. I like it. I really do. Given the stat that Mark said, no one's got more points than them since late August. That's a strong stat. I've just talked about the clean sheets. They've also beaten Arsenal at home. They've beaten Tottenham at home. They've beaten Liverpool at home, Manchester United. So this isn't, you can look at the recent form and say, oh, who have they beaten? They've had an easy run. Well, when good teams have come to Old Trafford, they have actually delivered this season. So I think they can make this a really competitive game. And as Mark said, City haven't blown your socks off, have they? Away from home as well. The only times they've won by more than 1 goal this season on the road, City have been to teams at the bottom end of the table, 14th or below. Teams in the top half have been very, very close games on the road for City. So for me, yeah, Man United on the handicap is a good value pick. Doesn't mean it's going to land, but I think they've got a good chance.
Yeah, and a lot of love in the comments for that Manchester United signing with Manchester United. And what we're going to do in Matchbook Insights, we're going to put all the guys' bets of what they put up, but we are going to still pick one out for the podcast. And I will lock in both teams to score at 1.72. It just gives us that chance if Manchester City do pull away late on. But yeah, some interesting plays there, particularly on the Manchester United with the match odds. Fascinating game at 12:30 on Saturday.